It's time. You're tuned in to the Fat Man Gaming Podcast. Let's press start.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to this week's edition of the Fat Man Gaming Podcast. As always, I am your host, the Fat Man here at the Fat Man Gaming. Down below is the new partner in crime, Sir Nathan himself.
Howdy.
So this week, guys, we got a the one that kind of a neat little episode for you. We're going to be talking about the Final Fantasy series as a whole, 1 through 16. I have some experiences with most of them. Nathan has some experiences with some. We'll kind of just go over our thoughts about him, each one, and then kind of little brief summary on each one and some personal thoughts on it. Um, but to start things off, like I always do, we have just a couple of news things that we want to go over with that's happened this week. The most major one, cashing your bets because it was insane. There was $1.3 million in a payout for this next one. So just getting right into it. GTA 6 delayed from May 2026 to November 2026. Uh, they have done it again. This is now the sixth delay or seventh delay on GTA 6. Man, at this point, I'm not even sure it's coming out. I say that jokingly, but we all know that when this game comes out, it's going to destroy everything else. Um, yeah, Rockstar announces that they need more time to polish. Some news outlets were reporting that it's due to in studio, what do you call it? In studio morale. So basically, the morale at Rockstar is very, very low right now. Um, and They, I guess, from what I'm gathering out of it, is they're taking a little bit more time to give maybe people some time off to relax a little bit. We all know that crunch is a thing in the gaming industry, and I'm thinking that's just maybe giving some time to rest because the game is ginormous. It's gonna be huge. It looks amazing. I'm not a GTA person per se. I like to just drive around and cause chaos. Um, and I guess it does take a lot of time to get them booty jiggle physics up to par, considering they made twerking a very, very upfront in the trailer. But yeah, Nathan, what do you think about GTA 6 sixth or seventh delay?
It's annoying. Here's the thing. I am not the audience for GTA 6. I'm like the furthest from it. Like, the only way I'm going to play this is if everyone tells me that this is the greatest game of all time. I need you to understand this. And I don't mean that, like, to say, like, in a harsh way. Like, it's just not the kind of game I'll play. It's like if you were to tell me that Gran Turismo is the greatest, like, the newest Gran Turismo was, like, a 10 out of 10 experience. It's like, it's not my cup of tea, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just not my kind of style of game. And, like, I mean, it's just because I never grew up with them or anything like that. But so that's my history with it. And but it's really frustrating to see Rockstar kind of like I don't know what's the I don't know what's the holdup necessarily. Like, I get, like, you were telling me it was like it was like staff morale or something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
I am curious. I don't know. I have a lot of, like, compounding things that I think there's a lot of things that I think that are, like, wrong, that are probably happening, that are, like, compounding on each other to create that environment. One, I think there's probably too many people working on this goddamn thing. Maybe, if I'm just being honest here, I heard, like, some numbers that it took over 1,000 people to make GTA 5. I'm like, I don't know where I heard this from, but, like, if that's true, maybe we really do need more Expedition 33s in the world. And I say that in terms of just, like, we need to really focus down on, like, you can't just throw infinite people at a thing and then it'll just turn out amazing. It worked out for Rockstar for a very long time, but I think what is happening right now is there's a diminishing returns on the actual with the people that actually work in these companies. It's no longer good enough for people to actually be like, I'm working at Blizzard, I'm working at Rockstar. It's to now basically have some kind of stamp and have some kind of importance. Everyone wants to be basically voice actor, even though or, like, on the same level, like, it's like how insignificant it is in comparison to the overall picture of the art, while also being as high of a pedestal that it is in the industry, is very much a superficial kind of thing. And I'm not like saying voice actors are like not important here, but what I'm saying is that there's a lot of like there's a lot
Yeah.
of there's a lot of things where like I feel like people are really trying to, I don't know, there's a lot of things that I don't want to go in super far into it, but I think a lot of maybe like ego gets in the way of like a lot of people. And like, I don't know about you, if I was working in a game dev studio and they were like, hey, do this, I'd just do it. I think I was watching like an interview with like some game director. I think it was for God, I don't know Western games that much, so I can't tell I can't remember. But he was saying that like whenever he would tell like some younger devs to like work on like a certain section of code, like they would all kind of like do it like with hesitance because like they were kind of like afraid of messing up. I'm like, what kind of
Yeah.
like when does that stop you from actually doing anything? It's like the fear of messing up. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I don't know. It's like I would
According,
maybe I don't know. That's all I'll say on this is that I don't know what's going on, but I feel like there's a lot of wasted resources, and but those resources also maybe have like I don't know if like I don't know. I've heard a lot of things like from the like the boss is saying the employees are garbage, the employee is saying the bosses are garbage. At this point, I don't know who to blame anymore for why these games take forever
yeah,
because I don't know. Maybe like I don't know. Like, but at the
according,
same time, whatever.
according to ChatGPT, there's 6,000 people working on GTA 6. So it could be why that
You
there's
could make
some
you could
that
make 50 Expedition 33s.
oh man,
I'm sorry, that's a bad comparison, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like how many people do you need to make one game that's going to be within like the confines of 100 gigabytes? Because like, how are you going to ship it physically otherwise? But it's still like
it's not all gonna be on the disc, that's for sure.
for sure, but
Um,
it's still just like it's frustrating to think that like I don't know where they're coming from to think that game dev should take this long. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But like, I can only speculate. But I can safely say that I think that I don't like the way Western game devs have gone for a very long time. They've all seemed kind of like the studios fall apart. The games kind of like come out kind of like middling, kind of eh. This is just from outside observation here, but it's just kind of seems that like we don't know how to make games in the long run over here. We used to in the early 2000s. We were really good at it, but and then somewhere we kind of lost the way a little bit. Maybe it's the overabundance of people, the really maybe toxic work culture. I don't know. It's just or people maybe like constantly self-victimizing. I don't know, but unfortunately, the result is a lot of fans are now missing out on a game that they've been like, okay, well, I guess this will just never come out. Wake me up when game comes out.
so do you think GTA makes the November 2026, or does it get delayed again?
At this point, Jesus is coming back quicker. Um,
I think at this point it has to make it. It has to.
it has to. I
I mean, obviously they're
when is
not
the
going to
PS5
cancel it.
supposed to, when is the PS5 supposed to come out? Or is PS6?
2027 is the rumor. Holiday 2027.
What are you doing? Yeah, it's gonna be a little too far. Um, it's a whole nother year. If I think that there have been two quick delays after one after the other. It's not like it's like it's not like it was Final Fantasy 16's delays where it was like you waited until like a month beforehand and then they're like, ah, sorry.
The 16 delay was awesome though.
Well, did I say 15? At 16, I meant 15.
No.
Like the several delays that had, not just including the whole change from 13 to 15, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
13 versus 13.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully it does make its hopefully it does make its launch date next November.
I hope it does. I want the game to come out. I want the game to be as good as it can be. I want the people who have been waiting for this game to be like, this is the best game ever. I'm
Right?
reading
And
the room now.
I just feel bad for
uh,
any I feel bad for any game that was planning on releasing in that time window next year though. So,
yeah.
good luck. Moving on. Um, let's see. Moving on. We're going to talk about Nintendo now. Nintendo and the Switch 2 have officially sold 10.36 million units of the Switch 2. Um, that's with all the critics saying that the Switch 2 is not as good, has nothing to play, um, lacking hardware and all that. But yeah, the Switch 2 just chugging all along. 10.36 million units worldwide. I have one personally myself, and I'm starting to love the machine. We had a rough go at the very beginning. Um, honestly, the best game I had played on it, Donkey Kong was a neutral for me. It was just an okay game. The best game that I had the most fun with at while I had it was the wheelchair basketball game, Dragon Drive, was probably the most fun until recently with Pokemon ZA. I'm having a blast with. Not as bad as people are saying, but yeah, 10.36 million units worldwide, man. But give us Netflix and YouTube, please. That would be awesome to have mobile. The Switch had it. No, the Switch didn't have it. Actually, it had YouTube. But yeah, give us our entertainment on their Nintendo because it's lacking. But yeah, 10.36 million units. Nathan, what do you think about that?
Well, it's catching up to the Wii U. It's only 3 million left to go after to pass that one up. It's a joke.
It's only one unit away. Just kidding.
But it's cool. I think that I forgot how much like the Switch One sold within its time frame. I do remember it sold like crazy, and it is the fast. It is like one of the
It's
biggest selling
slight.
consoles.
It's slightly behind the Switch one.
I meant so like it like in terms of sales pacing from how it was previously.
Yeah, I think at this time the Switch one was around 20 million units already.
Okay, that's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, like the slow. Like I'll tell you the reason why I haven't gotten one. It's not even because of the console prices, just because they don't put the god darn game on the cartridge.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
literally it.
that's
Like
one of
that's
people's biggest
literally
complaint.
it. But like, I mean, like, cool. If the Switch 2 is selling good, then cool. But I don't know. It's a little disappointing. Nintendo's been kind of shady and weird recently, but like I'm not gonna cry about it too hard because like companies are gonna be companies, they're gonna do whatever. And if and the people who were fooled by Nintendo magic back in the day, silly. Maybe it's because I just never really got into the whole like console war stuff when I was a kid. Just when I did console stuff, it was like the PlayStation 1, 2, and then the Wii, and then I stopped gaming, and then like yeah, for like 8 or 9 years, just didn't game at all. So I just wasn't a part of that world. So I don't know. Nintendo's in a weird spot with fans where they're either like, all right, you either need to start shaping up a little bit more, proving that you are actually pro us and not just your corporate investors. And I say that as the people on YouTube and everyone like that. I don't even like it. Yeah, I think maybe I don't know. I'd have to look at their leadership and see who's like changed in that regard. But either way, they're not making really great decisions for the gamers, even though, like, to be fair, like, you make decisions for the business and then you kind of masquerade it like it's for the gamers. I think the Xbox was trying and failing to do that with the Game Pass stuff, but see how
Yeah.
saw that how that happened. Problem is, it's just the problem is that every new thing that they always try to sell you is just a new kind of pill they're trying to have you take.
Right.
And like depending on how nice and enticing the pill is, will dictate how much people bitch and complain about it online.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, but I mean, overall, congratulations to Nintendo, the Switch 2, amazing device. Rumor,
I still need to actually like feel one. I haven't actually like felt it and see how like the magnets compare into the like the rails, but I will at some point.
if you swing by the shop this week, I'll bring mine. You can
Sounds good. Oh yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but congrats to Nintendo, 10.36 million. That's not bad at all. Hopefully it continues. We do have some bangers coming up, was it next month? We have Metroid Prime that is going to be coming out. So that's the game that I'm looking forward to. There's some bangers coming out this month. So hopefully we get a direct soon too, kind of showing what the next year is going to be about. But traditionally we get those in January. But yeah, congrats to Nintendo. And then moving on to the next bit of news, Texas is suing Roblox. Texas is suing Roblox for child safety. Child safety being that unfortunately weirdos have found their way into Roblox. It happens when you don't have the security that you should have or the verifications that you need to have. But yeah, Texas is suing Roblox just because pedophiles have made their way onto Roblox and are actively seeking out children. Um, and yeah, man, it's sad that even the weirdos have made their way into our realm of the world, and Texas suing them, I think, is a good thing. Roblox does need to be a little bit more monitored and a little bit more checked. It is primarily a kids game. I watch my kids play it often, and now seeing some of the stuff that's out there, I kind of wonder if maybe I even should be letting them play it. But the games that they play are kind of goofy and funny, and so I let them play it. But yeah, it's the parents need to just kind of monitor what's going on in there and who they're talking to. But yeah, let's see. So, yeah, that's about it. I mean, what do you think about the whole Roblox situation, Nathan? Have you ever played Roblox? And
So the only thing I know about Roblox is eh, eh. So I'm a hairstylist, so I cut kids' hair sometimes, and like what will happen is like a kid will be like plopped down in front of my chair in my chair. I put the cape on, and then just like on Roblox playing. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't, and it's just I don't even know what it is. They're just like scrolling through games half the time and just like trying to find new like because I guess it's like you choose a game or something like that, which
yeah,
kind of neat. But my yeah, I don't know. It's after the second time I heard of it was everyone on the internet just going absolutely bananas over what was the kid like the guy Schlepp who he f- he got banned from the platform because he he caught too many predators on the site. That's horrible to say, but that's kind of what happened. I can't hear you.
sorry, that was Chris
Sorry.
Hansen, right?
Yeah, well, that was I actually I started watching a little bit about this beforehand. I was
Oh,
watching well, so there's a guy named I watch a YouTuber named Nux. It's a blue avatar dude, whatever. Um, he covered the situation like several weeks before even Chris Hansen got on the whole situation. And like to be fair, like Schlepp was doing like a lot of this beforehand. He like got 6 people arrested before Roblox basically did anything, and the first thing they did was ban him.
oh shit.
They banned the dude. They banned a guy who was actively catching predators on their site. And it's like they talk about like the joke of 100 women versus accountability. How about one game? How about Roblox versus accountability? How about that, huh? Really? Because wow, wow. How do you do that?
The only thing I have to say about it is that yeah, it should be better monitored. But then we get into that whole thing of the age verification thing that Texas is one of those states that has actually done it. Now, feel in whatever which way you want. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, their own thoughts, and all that. Texas was one of the states that's actually banned porn. You cannot watch porn in Texas unless you have a VPN and you can get around the data blockers. They do have a age verification thing too, so kids can't get on there and all that. Basically, you have to submit your ID through scanning on your computer and all that in order to be able to get on certain things. It, ultimately, that's kind of the thing I don't want to get into. Um, California, I'm surprised California hasn't jumped on this, but then again, no offense to
Well,
my
because
fellow
in
Californians, but most of
we're
California
perverts.
is a bunch of perverts.
Yep,
Uh,
you're goddamn right.
s- so I mean, I'm
Mm,
not
you're
I'm not
goddamn right.
dissing I'm not dissing anybody, like I said, to each their own. But yeah, San
Yeah.
Francisco seems to be the headquarters of perverts. But but
Oh, dude, the responses of the higher ups of Roblox, disgusting,
yeah,
hilarious,
yeah.
absolute cinema, 10 out of 10 experience. If you haven't, whew, that was a wild ride. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I cannot wait for that to go through. I will. So, did they both ban porn and also and also the age verification, or if you age verify, you
Yes.
can still watch it?
No, so porn's been banned altogether, and then yeah, for certain things you have to age verify. And I have a feeling that unfortunately that may head to California. I hope not.
It
California
won't.
leadership, California
Yeah.
leadership does suck, but it's not as bad as Um, but yeah, so just to all the parents out there and young people, just watch out because there's pervs everywhere and you can't control it. But um, it's sad, and yeah, it's sad that it's affecting our realm. I mean, but
I
and then
mean,
last, oh no,
we've had toxic like things like Call of Duty lobbies, but that was more so just
yeah,
like everyone saying some crazy stuff.
yeah,
This is
this is
um
different, a lot
this
different.
this is a Craigslist kind of shit.
This is
Except
inexcusable. Yeah,
this is one of those things where it's like, so you're telling me that there's a game where you can literally make whatever the hell you want, and like there's really no moderation for like what is actually like like somewhat acceptable, besides from like things that are completely obvious. Trust me, I've seen some of the things that they do in Roblox to get around the censorship. Disgusting.
it's funny that you mentioned Craigslist because I actually just came up with an idea for like a small short show that we can do, but I'll discuss it with you after we're done here because I think it would be hilarious. Um, Let me adjust my mic because my gain is all the way too high. There we go. All right. So yeah. So moving on to our next subject. Xbox again, guys, because you know how me and Nathan love just dunking on Xbox. Uh, Xbox is I forgot her name. Sarah Bond. Sarah Bond has stated that the next Xbox will be a PC console hybrid. We already all knew that, and that it's going to cost somewhere in the realm of $1,200. Uh, Hooray! Um, but here's my thing, and I've seen other outlets talk about this as well as shout out to Sacred Symbols. I freaking love those guys. And then I've seen some other outlets cover it too. Um, it's gonna have Steam on it. So your next console is going to have Steam. You're going to have your store as well. At this point, why did the developers even want to make a SKU for Xbox when they could just make a SKU for PlayStation, Steam, and Nintendo and cut the middleman out? They don't have to pay Microsoft the 30% and they just launch on Steam, PlayStation, Nintendo, and cut the middle guy out. So again, Xbox shooting themselves in the foot with an Uzi because why? Why would I get it? I understand where you want to be, but at this point, just hang it up. Just be like, "Hey guys, we did it. We're a developer only. We quit. Our next Xbox is the dumbest thing of it we've ever thought of. It's going to have Steam on it. We're going to cannibalize our own sales. Here's Game Pass, and we're also a developer." I mean, at this point, just throw your hat in the ring because it's over. It's officially over. Like to all you developers out there, do not, I repeat, do not make a SKU for Xbox because there is no longer a point. If this next console comes out and it is exactly that, cut out the middleman and save your 30%. Um, but
I'm
I mean,
putting it.
yeah,
Um, will they still have any backwards compatibility with old school Xbox games?
I I would hope so. Now, it being a PC hybrid, I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work. I'm sure Xbox will figure it out because, they are the leading people in backwards compatibility because the Xbox One wasn't supposed to be backwards compatible, but they figured it out. And then the same thing with the Xbox Series X and S. Well, primarily X. They figured it out. So maybe it'll be backwards compatible, but digital only. I don't know if you'll be able to throw a disc in there because we know the Xbox doesn't even want to do physical media anymore at this point. um, their games don't sell. I mean, I have a shop
Basically,
full of them, so
yeah. Well, I think developers are basically just trying to get rid of like having to do any kind of physical media. They basically are like trying to sell you a digital thing with as minimal bullshit in between.
yeah.
Because up until now, gaming has been a toy. I'm just gonna let me explain this. So in the NES day, I mean, even beforehand, like you have like a machine, and then you plug a cartridge in, and it plays different games. Even back in the NES days, it was like kind of considered like more or less a toy. This was called an entertainment system. That's why it wasn't called a video game console, because after the crash of whenever the hell ET for the Atari 2600 came out, they didn't want to associate the NES with a video game, so they called it an entertainment system. And it was kind of
Right.
more or less just like a VCR. It's more or less a toy, and it's always been that way because you have accessories for it. You have a bunch of peripherals, especially like do the NES, like you good driving wheels and shit like that. I mean, like the only like sorry, it's just
No, you're all good, dude.
no it. And now it's like we're trying to get away from that because up until now it's basically been 90s. It's been the 90s attitude until now. It's this 90s attitude of like competition through your favorite brands and stuff like that. It's very kind of that era still. And like whenever people talk about like console wars and stuff like that, it's usually now with this like almost hint of like that those old days. It's no longer like we no longer look at it with like this rose tinted color glasses of like those good old times where like we fought over like whose favorite console was. At this point it's just like we're kind of tired of the bullshit.
Yeah.
And like I think the only people who really kind of try and keep that going is really Sony and Nintendo, because those are the only two left. I mean, if you look at like gaming history, you've had Philips, you had whoever the hell made the TurboGrafx, whoever the hell made the Neo Geo. You had several different companies, like not just even also Sega. They just now make games. They just want gone that full route because they understood that just selling software is a little bit more lucrative than trying to sell you both a piece of hardware to play their said software.
Yeah. I think eventually all everyone will just be selling software, but I really do think that the future of at home
Consoles
consoles is coming
are
to an
done.
end.
I
Yeah.
imagine in the future, this is my silly image of the future. You have a little you have a controller. You have a PlayStation 5 DualSense controller with a little dongle in the back. You plug that into the HDMI port in the back of your TV, and that more or less sends a signal to your TV to play your game from your controller. Does it wirelessly because we figured out technology, I guess. I don't know how a console will work in like the size of like literally this, but we figured out a switch. We can figure this out.
Yeah.
Just
No, for sure.
so like eventually it'll be like a plug and play wherever the hell you want kind of thing. I feel like that's kind of like maybe the next step where it's like it's like all you have to do is just take a controller and like the thing that attaches to an HDMI, because I feel like trying to do a digital signal to any kind of TV would be a little. There's still got to be some kind of physical connection, otherwise it might get a little fucky. You don't want to be
Yeah.
in the middle of a game and then all of a sudden your Bluetooth signal gets disconnected because like another TV got turned on or something like that. You know what I mean? So like I
Yeah.
feel like something like that is, and then like having a digital library attached to you, like a thing you have a password, like your account or something like that. So it's probably going to go by the way of that, meaning that our PlayStation 1 games are going to be kind of silly in the future.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
well.
yeah. Well, shout out to Xbox. I mean, hey, you guys are killing it. So,
Literally.
um, shout out to David Jaffe who took a pic. I mean, there's a bit of controversy behind it, but he showed a picture of somebody's grave and it was two Xbox controllers and he said, "This is an Xbox." And yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, moving on, guys, to the main topic of the show. We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy. So starting off with Final Fantasy 1. Final Fantasy 1 was the almost the end of Squaresoft. Squaresoft had banked everything on this game. This game had to come out. It had to be a banger because they were ready to just close shop. and they released Final Fantasy for the Famicom in America for the uh, the NES, and we got Final Fantasy One, which came out, and it was basically plot points were four warriors of light restore balance to the world by reviving elemental crystals, travel through time to defeat chaos, who was created who had created a time loop of destruction. Now, we can get into chaos because there's a whole side story of why Final Fantasy One even took place, but we're not going to because that game's terrible. Um, uh, but yeah, Final Fantasy One, I played it. Final Fantasy One is one of the ones that I don't ever want to go back to. Yes, it was the beginning of the series. It had the Warrior of Light, who was kind of cool. And then you had your other classes and all that. But it's just even today still too archaic. It does not translate well into the modern times. Um, and it's just a chore to get through, to be honest. It is a great game. It's just not something that I would ever go back to unless they fully remade it. But again, it would probably be one of the hardest things for them to do considering the game itself. Um, but yeah, Final Fantasy One. Do you have any ties to that one, Nathan?
So that is one I have beaten. I have beaten like really only like four or five of them, like four I think really at this point.
Yeah.
But I've dipped my ankles into several of them. Several of them I've gone up until my chest. I haven't fully finished some of them. Like we'll get into them at some point. But I have played the PSP version of Final Fantasy One. Yeah, more or less I agree. However, I do think that it's fine enough to be a solid enough game. The problem is it's very the first game. I don't know how
Yeah.
to describe it. And like I think I need to actually go back and play like some of the Dragon Quest games and like maybe even go like eventually go and play one because I've heard that the first game is a weirdly charming but short kind of game. It's like a whereas like Final Fantasy 1 really tried to be more ambitious than I think maybe a first try should have been. And I say that nicely because a decent chunky game. I played the PSP version, so I probably had like a little bit more content in there. I did follow a guide, so more or less I did just do the regular mandatory stuff. I didn't do anything extra. But it's fine. It established a lot of cool things, but I don't. It's fine. Like
It
I
did
don't really
save. It did save Squaresoft.
yeah,
So
and I think that probably for the time it was a solid game for its time. But I think it's not one of those where it's like it. I don't think it holds up as well in certain regards. It was probably like
yeah,
good for its
it's
time, but at the same time, I think that there's a lot of things that maybe hold it back.
it's not like a
Um,
Chrono Trigger or anything like that. That even in
well, and
today holds up.
that's like 7 years later, and even then, like
Well, if we're just going off of first games.
Final Fantasy One is also incredibly buggy and just not a well built game in the first place. Especially that original NES version. They fixed a lot of stuff later, but the original NES is buggy as hell. Two of the classes are just essentially worthless because of that. I think it was the thief is the steal function because I think the agility stat's broken or something like that. There's a lot of things that is just fundamentally wrong with Final Fantasy One, but it
I'll be right back.
there is enough of a soul there in Final Fantasy One to I'd say it's not necessarily not worth checking out. I think that maybe just watch a walkthrough or like a really good like in-depth video trying like kind of going over Final Fantasy One would probably be a better way to do it. But I don't know. I would say watch a walkthrough, watch a
Yeah.
playthrough, or like watch like a cutscene movie or like maybe like a really good analysis video. And
Yeah.
then like and then bumps to the soundtrack, especially like the PSP version, I really do like. Everything felt like it was trying to do that.
Shout out to the Iceberg guy who does the Final Fantasy breakdowns because he does an awesome job.
Oh yeah, yeah, Final Fantasy 101.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
was great.
had
I love that one.
I had to leave for a second, guys. That's why I covered my camera because I had to go get a Mr. Pibb because they renamed it back to the original Mr. Pibb.
What was it, Pib Extra at some point?
It was Pib Extra, yeah, and then they went back to Mr. Pibb recently. You stop scratching my chair, butthead.
But
My cat, my cat.
yeah, Final Fantasy one's fine. I think that there's still a charm to it. It's just that's one of the games I will eventually go back and play through it, maybe through the Pixel remaster on PS4, because that is a thing. And I'm glad that they did that, and I'm glad that they actually made competent versions of the next two games. Because if I were to try to play any other version of 2 or 3, I think I would go crazy. But we'll
Oh
talk
yeah.
about that in a second.
All right. So moving on. Final Fantasy II. A rebel group fights the Palmesian army empire. The heroes lose friends, overthrow the empire, and destroy the powerful magic Ultima. I don't like Fantasy 2 at all. I hate the main character. I hate the boss. I hate everything about the game from the system all the way down to its core. So I have nothing good to say about Final Fantasy 2, and I don't want to hurt people's feelings. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I did beat it. I'll never play it again.
Fair. I some okay. I have played about 18 hours of this game, but 18 hours was literally spent punching myself in the face to get all my characters to level 9, like to like max stats and everything, so I can just absolutely steamroll through the game. I thought that'd be funny, but then I never actually wound up finishing it. So I kind of just wasted 18 hours of my time just running around in circles, punching myself in the face.
The
Hilarious.
Emperor
Um,
is quite literally the worst villain in a Final Fantasy ever.
he dies and then he takes over hell and comes back like the most angry boy ever. It's hilarious. It's not as bad as Cloud of Darkness in 3. He'll never convince me that. Like Cloud of
Yeah,
Darkness, well, that's just the most like Deus Ex like not even Deus Ex Machina, but just more like a who the fuck are you kind of final boss. You
they
know what I mean?
redeemed they redeemed Cloud of Darkness and Dissidia because she was hot.
All right, whatever. But so and actually I will point out that like a lot of the people who did work on Final Fantasy 2, they a lot of the things that were in Final Fantasy 2, like the level up system, not a great system in Final Fantasy 2. It was translated better into the Saga games, however. Like by the time you get to the Romancing Saga games, like like Romancing Saga 2 got a remake recently. I've heard nothing but excellent stuff about that. And I've heard a lot of great stuff about the Romancing Saga games specifically.
They are great
Yeah,
games, yeah.
yeah. But it's just like, well, hey, a Final Fantasy is one of those kinds of series where it just seems like, a lot of first tries don't seem to really be going too good here. They're really good on refining ideas rather than just like, the initial ones, at least as far as I can tell. And like
Yeah.
there is some like cool stuff with like, they tried a little bit more ambitious storytelling in here. Eh. Eh, game's depressing as hell. Um,
Yeah.
but
A lot of the deaths in Final Fantasy 2 kind of were like, yeah.
yeah, it's just I'll eventually go through it maybe if I actually have the time to do that. Um, sure, when I'm retired, I'm like, yeah, why not go through the Final Fantasy games? Why not? Sure. Or if like I ever did a streaming thing and be like, okay, Final Fantasy marathon, but that's in the realm of stupid. So,
Let's
but
see.
so I'll probably never go through it, which I'll get over it. Not gonna cry about it too hard.
Yeah, same here. Final Fantasy 3, another one I don't like.
Yep, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I do not like Final Fantasy 3 at all. It's another one that I'll never touch again, unless it's fully remade and absolutely a banger. Final Fantasy 3,
Yeah, it's called Bravely Default.
yeah, for use awaken as warriors of light. To restore the crystal's powers, they defeat the cloud of darkness, trying to return the world to nothingness. Great plot.
They
Uh,
were more focused on like the combat mechanics in this game, I guess, than the story, because like they tried more with the story in the previous one. Now they're just like, all right, we're just gonna do Final Fantasy 1 kind of storytelling again, but you're playing as a four little shit kids, just learning different jobs along the way.
yeah, yeah. I have nothing nice to
um
say about this one, so.
Music's good. A lot, a lot of traditional stuff is introduced here, but like it's one of those things where it's like I don't. Oh, I'm also like I'm looking through the Wikipedia stuff like for the different games, and I will say the Yoshitaka Amano artwork is immaculate, though. I will.
Yeah, it did have
But
great music though. I'll give it that.
no, and yeah, Uematsu, like just doing his best with like the NES, because yeah, and like luckily this will be the last game on the NES, and the next one will be a little bit more
Yeah.
free to do its own thing.
Now the next one we get into is actually one of the ones that is it belongs in the top ones for sure. Final Fantasy IV. Dark Knight Cecil, who is one of the most awesome characters in the series, redeems himself to stop Golbez and Zembes from using crystals to destroy the world, becomes a paladin, and defeats the lunar villain on the moon. Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy IV was awesome just because Cecil alone, Cecil or Cecil, whatever way you call him. I've always heard it pronounced Cecil. I call him Cecil. Um, you start out as like just kind of a douchey Dark Knight type guy who's like completely broken, all powerful. Um, and then eventually you do become a paladin. You become a white knight essentially. And yeah, it was that was a fun game. I actually liked that one a lot. It wasn't as long as the other ones either. I felt like it was traditionally short, but the characters in the game were some of the best. And then yeah, it had your traditional system in there, but the battle music was some of the best. Had one of the best battle themes in there, and I know that they recycle them a lot, but yeah, this one was just perfect. Um, and then yeah, that's my take on Final Fantasy IV. But if I had to play that, if they were going to remake one of the older ones, yeah, they should do four. And
Oh,
I mean,
dude, can you can
they
you
have
imagine like a
sort of.
can you imagine like a full like FF7 remake quality, but for four? Ooh.
Yeah, no, that'd be dope.
Oh, that'd be so sick. Anyway, I played a little bit of four, not really too much of it though. I do know a lot about it though, at least a good chunk of it for through like various YouTube essays. I know a lot about Final Fantasy just through essays alone, which is, I imagine, annoying for some. I kind of like knowing a lot of stuff beforehand just so I can pick them out. But newer games, I like just approaching them with like no spoilers. It's weird.
Yeah.
I will eventually go through this game. This is one of those where it is one of the older ones. I do have a thing about myself. I noticed that like Super Nintendo is as far back as I tend to go when it comes to games. Like anything further back, unless it's like games I see as fundamental to game design, I kind of have a hard time going back to. Like Mega Man 2 and Castlevania are like top tier game designs, and I will go through those just because I feel like I know the game design of those games well, and like I see them as just like very fundamental. They're not like trying to do anything too crazy with and like too anything too crazy with like the limitations of the NES yet, because then you get to the sprite flickering of Mega Man 3 through 6. And
Sounds
uh,
like perfect episodes for shows coming up. We can do a Castlevania and a Mega Man series.
I'm down.
That'd be
But
dope.
so Final Fantasy IV will be a game I go to at some point. I yeah, it'll be through the Pixel remaster more than likely. Although I'm not much for one for like playing through games for difficulty. I've heard the 3D version on the DS was on the more difficult, and some people on the say fun side. To be fair, the Super Nintendo version we got was brain dead easy, at least because just the like how they balanced everything and like the items that they changed essentially to a remedy to just be a cure-all for all diseases in the games. There's just a lot of things that they did to the original version that made it super easy. I think a YouTuber I watched, Clement J64, he did a Final Fantasy retrospective of the whole series, and his
Yeah.
playthrough of the Final Fantasy IV was like 15 hours. I'm like,
No
I don't even
thanks.
think it was. I'm like, damn, it was. I'm like, that's short as hell.
Yeah, it was. It's one of the shorter ones for sure.
It's like set or like it was like 15, 17. Like it was less than 20 hours. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I thought they definitely wasted a lot more of your time, but eh, I definitely it's
Yeah.
not Final Fantasy V. Well, we'll get to that. But I will go through four at some point. I just need to
Yeah. Final
uh
Fantasy,
yeah,
yeah. Final Fantasy V,
five.
in my opinion, is the worst game of the franchise. Um,
Oh.
it's hands down to me the worst in the franchise.
You don't like Bart's, do you?
I do not like Bart's. He is the most annoying character I've ever dealt with, and we have Titus. Um,
At least
but
Titus is annoying for a point. Like,
yeah,
at
it's
least
kind of his.
it makes sense. It's not like
Yeah,
it's not even like Vaughn from like or whoever the guy's name is from 12, where it's just like he's kind of obnoxious, but it's just like, why is he obnoxious? Titus is annoying for. We'll get into that anyway.
yeah.
But
So
five, I can agree. I can understand that.
Final Fantasy V, Bart and his friends protect crystals, linking the two worlds together. X Death tries to return everything to the void. They stop him with the combined world's power. Garbage. Yeah, Bart's. I mean, granted, Golbez is kind of cool, but other than that, this game's just straight hot dookie. Bart sucks. His teammates suck. The game sucks itself. The battle music was even kind of garbage in it. No redeeming qualities for this game. I-
Uh, that's fair. I don't know. I haven't gone through the game myself. This is the one game where I'm like, I don't want to touch this one right now. Mostly because I know it's going to take me forever because it's one of the harder Final
yeah,
Fantasies because it is so dependent on its job system and your understanding of the
70
job system.
hours of gameplay.
I mean, to be fair, if you were a kid in '93 or '94 or whatever the hell this game, '92, '93, I don't know.
Uh,
Um, Either way, I think it was actually '90. I think it was '93.
mhm.
Regardless, I mean, I imagine like having a decently long game would be fun, but like the games, I don't know. I have to play it and see if like the actual mechanics are satisfying. The problem is Final Fantasy is one of those things where the combat itself isn't really the selling point. The combat, it can be fun, and I mean, to be fair, six, we'll get into six, can be a lot of fun. The problem is that when you have, I don't know, the job systems in Final Fantasy 3 and 5, it's like they're fine, but what you need something else on top of that in order to like make it a little bit more, I don't know, just make it more than that cuz like I don't know. 3 and 5 almost feel like vanilla ice cream to me at this point. Granted, I need to actually fully play through these games, but I don't want to spend a total of 100 hours on both those games and be like, yeah, I kind of confirmed my bias here. But and because they're not going to change my mind. Like they're not really going to blow my mind when it comes to story. So automatically, like 80% of the reason why I play an RPG just kind of out the window. So I'm like, cool. What about the 20% where the combat's like satisfying? It's like, well, it's a lot of just like menuing and then just leveling up and then more menuing. I'm like, I mean, I guess that could be like a bad faith version of like every RPG, but I don't know. It just feels a little too tedious for my personal taste to be, I guess, satisfying. But wham, I
Yeah.
don't know. Final Fantasy V will probably not be the one. It'll be probably be the one of the last games I play for sure. I'll play 12 before I play Final Fantasy V.
Oh man. All right, moving on.
I'll play 2 before I play Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VI. So Final Fantasy VI was the beginning of greatness. It's still not one of the ones that I'd want to get into. We used hang on.
Hold on a minute. He is disciplining his children. Joking.
Voice. Yeah, so Final Fantasy VI was the beginning of I think Final Fantasy the franchise just hitting its peak. Six is still it'd be the lowest one on the great tier for me that I'd want to go back to. I don't want to go back to it. It's harder to go back to. Um, but it had, in my opinion, one of the best villains in the franchise. It had one of the best stories in just being that it combined a whole bunch of everything together. I mean, you had the summons who you had to go up against, and then you were actually your main character was herself an Esper. Um, Terrible Terra. Terra was a likable character. She had a great team. I liked the Magicite, and I liked the whole plot and story on that. But the best part was that Kefka actually achieved his goal. Like Kefka was one of the bad guys in the series that actually was like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do this, and he did it. Ultimately, he did meet his end, but he did it with
Not without making his mark. That's for
yeah.
damn sure.
He did it in style. So shout out to Kefka. I even like Kefka over other top villains. I mean, nobody's ever going to be better than Sephiroth, but Kefka's pretty damn close. Um, but yeah, Final Fantasy VI. If they were going to remake another one, this one is one of the ones they should probably start with.
Dude,
Uh,
actually, to be fair, as soon as they're done with 7, as soon as they're done fucking around with 7, as soon as they're done having fun, sorry, I'm not gonna be an asshole about it, but they really should just do 6 next. They really just should do 6 next. I got to the end of the world segment and I just got lost at that point, so like that's kind of how far I got. However, that's not to say I don't want to go back to it because I want to play through this game again. This is one where I definitely want to. I played the Game Boy Advance version, which I know not the best version when it came to sound. I still was able to play it. I don't care. Um, there were several scenes where I'm like, I got very emotional at that game. That is a moderately powerful game there, my dude. And they were
yeah,
able to, like, no, like, beginning of the underworld segment when Celeste comes, like, finally comes to Sid and taking care of Sid, coming back in, realizing Sid's no longer okay. That's, bro,
yeah, yeah,
heartbreaking. The opera scene. There's so many things in Final Fantasy VI where I'm like, dude, what was it? Sabin flipping the train.
yeah.
There's so many things in that game
Suplexing
that
Doom Train.
Final Fantasy VI is when the alcohol and the cigarettes finally actually started kicking into high gear. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
like well,
Um,
and also to be fair, so many of people that are in Final Fantasy right now, like even today, like here in I'm sorry, like all the producers, Yoshinari Kitase, Tetsuya Nomura, everyone that's like still like in major positions in Square Enix. They got kind of got started in Final Fantasy V. Final Fantasy VI is when they really came together and like they made their own individual characters and character arcs. This is
yeah,
why a lot of these characters actually could almost be their own main character because they are actually well developed enough. Like Celeste feels like the second half protagonist, whereas the first half feels like it's a weird mixture of Locke and Terra,
yeah.
and it's
Shout out
this
to
story that
Locke.
the goat.
The
Now,
goat.
now, Six is a fascinating game that they were actually able to pull off after. I mean, even after like listening to us just kind of talk about the last five games, we haven't really been like these are like games I would want to go back to. Six is incredible.
Yeah,
Six is really good. Like six is one of those things where, and also the gameplay actually like there's enough in the Esper system to give you enough wiggle room to have a lot of fun or teach everyone Ultima and just win. Uh, so like there's a lot more fun you can have with that in order to build your characters, so there is a good enough gameplay variety while also not being super difficult. So
yeah,
there's a good balance that they reached here where the gameplay was still fun but it didn't necessarily get in the way super hard for you to actually finish the really well told story that it had. Plus,
yeah.
dude, the theme of Terra, that music is incredible.
Yes. It
Like,
had
dude, Final Fantasy
just
VI has some of the best music in music history,
yeah.
period.
Final Fantasy VI had some of the best music. That is hands down. Moving on, we're getting into what is widely considered the top three.
Oh,
Uh, these are widely considered the top three. This next one, particularly being rated as number one. Um, Final Fantasy VII. Um, Final Fantasy VII, again, as you all know, because we've talked about it several times, Final Fantasy VII is the reason why I became a gamer. Final Fantasy came out on the PlayStation 1 in 1997. It was the first RPG that I had officially played. Um, I had no idea what I was doing with this game at first, but I knew that it was hooking me just from the very beginning, from the opening scene with the Mako leaking out of the pipe to seeing Aerith walk walk down the street, who for some reason they named her Eris in the US. Um
Oh, it's because in Japan it's called it's arisu. Like
Yeah,
it's the arisu. So like it would be like su, but we don't do that. So like they eventually changed it to Aerith, which would be, I mean, like that's still like better than Eris, I guess. Like, 'cause
yeah.
I don't know, Aerith, like Aerith, I don't care. It's like, okay, if we want to be like Arisu, whatever.
The opening train scene still one of the best scenes in gaming
Agreed.
history. And yes, they've remade it and it's even better now. But yeah, I mean, the storyline, you're a mentally damaged um former soldier for one of the world's biggest electric companies. For some reason has also an army behind it, which is PG&E today, to be honest. Um, you have some of the coolest characters, being one with Barrett having the machine gun arm and just nice and racially inaccurate. um, you have Tifa, who is the kung fu fighter and just straight badass. You have Aerith, who is the healer and just the comedy relief. She's funny and her story is incredible. You have the four-legged canine hybrid dog Wonder with Red 13, who's cool because he's got the Charmander tail. Um, you've got Sid, the ace pilot, the guy with an attitude. Um, and then you got your side characters with Yuffie, the materia stealing ninja. And then you got one of the greatest characters of all time with Vincent, the former Turk and mutated man. Um, and then of course you got your villains. You've got your Shinra Corporation with the president, his son, and the monsters that they make through the Mako, and you got Hojo, who's still mystery, and but you got the greatest villain of all time with Sephiroth, the former soldier himself that was manipulated to believe that he's something that he's not. Um, is controlled by a rogue catastrophic alien that just is causing chaos through the world, and the story itself was just it's just yeah, even to this day it's still great. The remake is doing it justice, although twisting it a lot. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII will forever hold its place as number one in my heart. And yeah, man, seven.
It was it was my number 7. I really enjoyed the game, and like it was one of those games that played. I played. I think I explained this in the last episode. I played it like before I played 15, but I finished it after played 15. After I finished 15, I then finished 7.
Gotcha.
7 is a really good game. I could even see back then it's like, okay, like, a little bit more simple in terms of like, it was just different. It was doing more like the turn-based stuff. I like the materia system a lot. And actually I found a very very efficient way to get the uh, the golden chocobo. It only took me like 20 minutes. Hilarious. Yeah, no, I was able to do a flat 50-hour playthrough of 7 back in the day, and 7 it deserves every bit of praise it gets. And I imagine someone probably just groaned, but look, in the 90s, nah, dude. Everyone be like, but like Shin Megami Tensei 3. Yeah, like what? 5 years later? Okay. How about 5 years prior? It was doing some pretty good stuff back then. I thought so anyway. But whatever. I like the combat system. The story is excellent. Music is excellent too. 7
Yeah.
is also just birthed the whole universe unto itself. Like you got Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, which is probably even better than the. I'm not gonna go that far. I think game design wise, probably seven's better, but like I think story wise, that Crisis Core is heartbreaking, and you should experience it.
Seven Crisis Core, yeah, Crisis Core just makes seven that much better because it does fill in
Oh
the
yeah,
gaps that needed
it's
to be
that.
filled in.
It's like a proper prequel. It's like The Godfather 2, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have Advent Children, which is an edgy sequel that is an absolute mess, and I love it. It's
Oh
such a
yeah.
dumb movie, and I love it. It's weird. Final Fantasy, when it comes to its history with movies, we didn't talk about Spirits Within. That's because it doesn't exist.
That movie's not a Final Fantasy movie.
Well, it's like what? Didn't you see the chocobo on like that one dude's briefcase,
Or the jail
or the
cell
guy,
painting.
or the guy whose name is Sid? Stupid. Anyway, um, I mean, for fuck's sake, Sid wasn't even in the first two. I'm pretty
You
sure he
mean
was in. He
you
wasn't
mean
even in
Jeff
the first.
you mean Jeff Bridges who played Sid?
Oh my god, the Earth Spirit. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna attempt it. Anyway, uh, but like Final Fantasy, like Advent Children's a fun time. Dirge of Cerberus, never played it. I still have it for some goddamn reason. I think. Um, eventually I might go through it, but yeah.
I
Do I
love
even
Dirge.
have that?
I
I don't
love
even know
Dirge
if
of
I have that
Cerberus.
anymore. I need to see if
But
I
yeah,
still have
no,
it.
I mean it gave it
But
its own expanded universe. So I mean there's only one other
yeah.
game that well, there was two other games that did that, but one went further than the other.
Well, now there's the whole remake series, which is essentially a pseudo sequel, except it's a weird like Ouroboros like cycling like cyclical kind of like story now.
It's an
I mean
it's an Avengers style type story.
I would almost say it's just a very Japanese story of cycles. If you've read Devilman, it's a very similar thing, where it's
Yeah.
like this has all happened before, but it's happening again, and there is people who are people who know things that had happened beforehand, but actually, hmm,
We can get into that
actually, hmm,
another time
actually,
because I have a running theory on it that
I actually never equated to what they're doing with Final Fantasy VII Remake to Devilman and its various spin-offs. Anyway, in that case, who's God? Who's the asshole of Final Fantasy VII?
Maximilian
Anyway,
dude stole my theory, by the way.
anyway,
Um,
I'll stop rambling.
you're all
That'll
good.
be my own thought process, but yeah.
So then let's go because we're running a little high on time. Let's just kind of mash through these ones. Final Fantasy VIII, underloved, underappreciated. I've said it before. If it had released in modern times, it would have doubled its sales. Um, one of the coolest main characters. I mean, I love Squall. Uh, the cast is awesome. Zell is basically just a Tifa clone, and some of the best summons in the game. Eight Bahamut is like my favorite. Um, you're just a rogue group of mercenary, well, children mercenaries raised from very young age to adult to basically kill a sorceress if need be. You're also mercenaries. You do higher jobs. You help other states and countries and all that do their thing. Um, the one complaint about the game has always been the junction system because yes, you can be godly on the first disc. Uh, I always thought that was cool. Um, but yeah, no, the game itself was awesome. One of the best storylines out there, especially with the whole Laguna thing. And yeah, I loved some of the best weapons too. Man, this the gunblade is awesome. Um, but yeah,
It's
Final
silly.
Fantasy
It's
VIII
fun.
is underloved and underappreciated, and you should go play it so that we can get that a remake. Because if anyone deserves a remake, it's definitely eight.
I eventually will go through this game at some point. I've always like started it, but I've never actually like gone any further than like for the first couple hours. It's not. I don't know why. Just it's not even having anything to do with the game. I just like maybe the idea of having to start another 40 to 50 hour RPG, especially a Final Fantasy, might be a little tedious sometimes, but like that's my own mental block. I will eventually go through eight. It is one I do definitely want to go through because I want to go through the story. The story looks interesting. The
It
music is
is
incredible.
the music is some of the best. And
Yeah,
then
no, like
also
agreed.
has the best card game. The card game is great.
No, for sure. It's, however, speaking of card game, but the worst card game.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX, I do love this game. It is definitely my top three of the Final Fantasy series. Um, Great cast of characters. It, back to traditional style Final Fantasy, so not not specifically job class, but more on you can, each one you had your set main character. So your main character was a thief. You had a healer or a white mage, you had a black mage, you had your blue mage, you had your dragoon, and so on and so forth, your knight and all that. Great story. Music in this game is phenomenal. Battle theme, the main theme. Um, yeah, it. The only thing about nine is it's not easy. It's a hard one. The status effects in this game actually really hurt you. Um, but yeah, it's a great game. The graphics at the time were some of the best. Um, universally loved. There's supposedly a remake out there somewhere. We're still yet to see it. Um, but yeah, I love this one.
Yep, and this one will be I will eventually go through. I literally played I bought it on PS4. I think I did the jump rope mini game and then I went to bed afterwards and I just haven't touched it since. Um I think my plan for Final Fantasy 9 will eventually be I will save that for after I go through at least Final Fantasy 2 and maybe one more old school Final Fantasy, like definitely after 4. Like I want to go through some of the older ones first because fine 9 feels like it's kind of like a hey, we're kind of like trying to reference the whole franchise here. So like if you can play as many beforehand before playing this, that actually maybe enhances the experience a little bit. Maybe that's like because it was kind of made with the idea of all right, this is the last one before we start a new numbering scheme, so let's celebrate a little here. Yeah. um so
Yeah,
that's kind of so I will eventually go through that, but it's definitely going to be after I play through some games that I may or may not want to play first, but whatever.
nice. Yeah, moving on. Final Fantasy X. I have a love-hate relationship with 10. I do like the game. I hate the sphere grid. It's one of the worst leveling up systems in Final Fantasy, in my opinion. Um, main character is incredibly annoying. Um, but the game itself is awesome. You're basically some surfer dude chode who goes back in or goes into the future to try and save the world from his would-be dad, um, who has become the basically the summon for the gods. Eventually, you go and you help the side main character, Yuna, complete her pilgrimage to collect all the summons so that they can get to the final one. And then you find out that that's not even the final one because you end up having to fight God themselves. And yeah, it is a fun game. Had some of the best music. The the scene at the very beginning at the Blitzball game, the really really hard rock theme. Everybody just knows that because of that. Uh, I think it was called Otherworld. Um, but yeah, 10, good game. I have no desire to go back to it though, because I can't get past the infamous ha 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 scene. Um, but yeah, 10.
Oh, this is one this might actually be my next Final Fantasy. I'm not gonna lie. I've been wanting to go through 10 for because whenever I talk to people who love 10, they love 10. Like I want to go back and specifically play the PlayStation 2 version because I know the differences between the HD remasters and the original PS2 version. The original PS2 version still has the detailed facial animations, whereas the HD remaster doesn't because they lost the code. Because for some reason, keeping a hard drive over there isn't part of the culture. Sorry, I'm not going to go that hard.
Do you know how many times they've lost their codes?
Yeah. Let's see. Panzer Dragoon Saga, Final Fantasy VIII. We're not going to go through this.
Yeah.
There's several games where it's just like, what do you mean you lost the hard drive? It's like, oh, we just needed space, bro. We just decided to delete the master files. All right, whatever. It's like
Uh,
some of these stories are like kind of silly. I'm like, guys, you can't just like have a hard drive in the back. I don't know.
yeah, it's yeah. I
I will go through 10 at some point.
it's fun.
I think it'll probably be sooner rather than later, and more than likely I'll screw it. I might actually see if I can get a kick set up so I can start streaming that. I kind of want
It's
to play through it.
it's fun. It's just yeah, the sphere grid. I hate it.
Yeah, I know I've seen speedrunners who have made an absolute joke about out of that whole out of that whole system. So I know that there's a way to break it, especially in the remasters. I feel like there's a way to hop around on the spear grid and then just manipulate it to do all
Right.
kinds of crazy crap. So where you can beat the game in less than 10 hours, which nice. But
Also, it was also the first Final Fantasy to break the damage barrier. So
Oh
you
yeah,
would
the
know.
999. Yeah,
Yeah, you could go beyond that. Moving on, Final Fantasy 11. We're not going to talk about because that is a online game, and really,
never heard of her. Never touched her.
yeah, don't need to talk about that one. Um,
uh, couldn't even if I try. Actually, I heard one thing I will say about 11 that is cool is that there is a producer at Final Fantasy who is still working who is working at Square Enix who still has a private server for Final Fantasy 11 up.
yeah, you can still play it
That
on
is
PS2.
cool. That
Yeah,
is cool. I
yeah.
will say that is neat. I think that's kind of cool. So like for the people who actually do enjoy the game, for the masochistic freaks out there, there are still people, especially at the higher ups at Square Enix, who are like, you know what, let's keep this game going. I think that's neat. But anyway, 12.
Moving on to 12, another game I do not like. I have no desire to go back to this one. And mainly because the main character is not even the main character, it's the side character. But anyways, the cool thing about 12 is that it takes place in Invalus. Invalus, if those of you that know, it's also the same kingdom that Final Fantasy Tactics takes place in. So
And Vagrant Story.
yeah, so that's pretty cool that it had connects to that. So let's see. Final Fantasy 12 is in Invalus, Princess Ash and the Sky Pirate Balthier resist the Arcadian Empire. Vane's ambitions. Vane was pretty cool though. Uh, ambitions for godlike power are crushed. Ash restores peace. Not once did it mention Vaughn because Vaughn's not the main character. It's Bosch.
No, it's Bosch. Yeah, no, yeah, because well, I don't know. So the development history of 12 is a really weird one because halfway through the development of 12, the director who did Final Fantasy Tactics and Vagrant Story, he left.
Yeah,
And so the second half of the game kind of just like peters off for some reason.
yeah.
As if I just feel like I've heard from games like from like game like the like analysis and stuff like that. But yeah, Final Fantasy 12 is one I will I will play Final Fantasy 9 before I play Final Fantasy
Yeah,
12.
that's for sure.
And if you've heard how many Final Fantasy games I'll play before Final Fantasy 9,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not even like I got about 13, maybe 15 hours into the PS4 Zodiac Age, and like I will say that is a technical marvel of a game. Like how much game they put onto a single PS2 disc, I will say. What
The
the
other
hell were
thing,
they? I don't know how they did that, but like like
the other
I
thing
find that
too,
impressive.
the other thing too that they introduced was the PC style combat system that was more for like an MMO.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like they were probably more inspired by like 11's combat, but like I
yeah,
also can't really confirm or deny that. You know what I mean?
yeah, it definitely took some inspiration from 11 for sure. Um, moving on, 13. I have nothing good to say about 13. Not, I don't mean that in a bad way. 13 again went into the MMO style of gameplay. It was a little less free moving, being that you didn't get to move them like you did in 12. But it still had it had a fun combat system. I just don't like Lightning. She's just not a very cool main character to me. Hope was also kind of whiny. Snow was obnoxious. Really, the only character I liked in the game was Saz. I thought Saz was pretty cool. He's like the more mellow version of
Mellow Barrett.
yeah, he's the mellow version of Barrett. Like Barrett is one way this way, and Saz was completely the opposite direction. Um, I
I
did
feel
like Fang and Vanille. Um, I did the one thing that I do like about 13 though is that each character was tied to an they always change the name of them, but I called them summons, but in this game they were called Eidolons or Eidolons or whatever the hell they call them.
Idolins, I
Yeah.
think.
I did like that Lightning was I like that Odin was a main character for once. So Odin was the main summon, and then you had like Bahamut that was tied to Fang, and Hope had Alexander, and Saz had not Ifrit, and yeah. And but yeah, I mean I have no desire to go back to 13. I just recently beat it. It's just it just doesn't hold up. But not dog on it. It is. I just think Lightning is just obnoxious. I don't see the fascination with her.
Um, so from what I understand, it's also like part of it is translation issues, but also at the same time, it's just like, look, you can also have like there's also to be something to be said like Zero from Drakengard 3, kind of a similar situation there, but we're
Oh
not going to get
yeah.
into any of that. But Final Fantasy 13. So I will say one thing is that you have two kinds of flavors of Final Fantasy protagonists here. You got the Tidus flavor, or you got the Cloud flavor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You either got the happy-go-lucky idiot with maybe some chip on his shoulder, or the guy with a stick in his ass. You know what I mean?
You know what's
Like
funny? You know what's
or
funny
the
is
amnesiac guy with the stick in his ass too. Holy
yeah.
shit!
You know
Sorry.
what's funny too is that they brought back the gunblade in this one because Lightning does have
Yeah.
the gunblade, and it's just convenient that they made Lightning is basically just Squall in female form.
I mean, and also Lightning Cloud, hilarious. It's. I think. I mean, to be fair, I feel like they maybe try to do like a whole combination, like a female version of Cloud and Squall put together, which I wouldn't doubt.
That's
Um,
funny because all of them are named after some kind of a weather thing. Because
yeah.
Cloud
So
being the cloud, Squall being a gust of
it's
wind,
Tets.
and
Are we really going to doubt Tetsuya Nomura here at this point in time? Anyway, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna go there. I Final Fantasy 13 is one I am infinitely fascinated on because like there are some people who love that game. Then there are most people who just don't like the game.
yeah,
I'm curious as to one, how the developers want me to play this game. Two, is it actually fun? Three, what is the actual intended like intention of the story paired with the level design? Because I've heard theories that when they like after a conversation mid game when they start to like like decide, oh, you know what, screw this, we're gonna go our own way, then the game opens up or whatever. So it's more like the level design is more of like an expression of like how trapped they feel within their own like mentality because of the curse they put under.
the other
It's a little
thing,
silly, but I will go through it eventually. It's just
it's good
I'll
for
go through 10 first and maybe I'll go through it at some point.
it,
I don't know.
it's good for a one-time play for sure, but it definitely is. It's the most linear of them all.
I don't mind linear
Very,
as long as
very.
it's fun and keeps my attention.
It doesn't. It no. To me, it didn't. It took a long time for it to finally wrap up, but yeah. Moving on, we have Final Fantasy.
Oh, do we want to talk about the sequels like 10-2 and then also the 13-2, 13-3 or no?
Nah, we'll do those in separate because I want to throw Georgia Cerberus and Crisis Core in those as well.
Fair, fair, fair.
Um, Final Fantasy 14 we will not talk about just because again it is online. It is a fun online game, but it's just not something that
I've heard nothing but great stuff about it, but again,
it
never touched
is.
her, never heard of her.
It's definitely great. Deserves its own thing though because it's kind of a mismatch of a little bit of everything. But then we get into one of the best ones of all time, Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 got so much hate, but it is such a good game. Yes, it is kind of linear. Um, it never truly opens up kind of like we wanted it to. Um, but yeah, you had some of the. I mean, the three main characters of the game are awesome. You got Noctis, you got Prompto, and you got who is it?
Gladio and Ignis.
Gladio and Ignis. Basically just Final Fantasy Egon. Um, but yeah, no, I mean they called it. A lot of people called it the Guy's Trip game, and yeah, it was. It was your
Yeah, it's
four
Boy Strip.
friends. Yep, going on a car ride to save the kingdoms and unite and all that. Your main character was just going for a booty call. Um, but Noctis and the gang was is. I loved the game. I loved the whole multi weapon thing that he had going on with the royal arms. I love, dude, just the intro when they're pushing the car and the Stand By Me comes on, that version of it. It's like, oh man, I knew this game was gonna be legit. The game was so good to the point that I literally broke down in tears from the ending just because the ending hits so damn hard. You see them make the journey all the way up to a certain point, and then you realize that the ultimate sacrifice has to happen. And yeah, that was to me, even though I love 7, I still think Final Fantasy 15 has the greatest ending of all time. Um, hit really hard, but yeah, I loved it. Actually, been meaning to go back and play this one recently.
I do too. I so Final Fantasy 15 was technically the first one. It's the first one I finished. And I loved that game. I really enjoyed that game. I especially all the DLC that came out, the extra stuff they added along to it.
Oh yeah,
I never did do that like final dungeon where you needed the flying car in order to be able to get there and to get the Genji gloves. I never did do that. I might need to do that at some point. 15 and also like the supposed DLC that would have actually had us facing Bahamut. Oh, it was Bahamut, or what was the guy in the big boy in the crystal?
yeah, I think it was Bahamut. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's like Bahamut was supposed to be is basically the big asshole of the game, and it's you're basically supposed to team up with Arden to kill him.
yeah, he was
That was
supposed to
the
be.
that was supposed to be the grand final ending that they would do in the final DLC, but they put into a book. God
It
damn
was
it.
supposed to be the. He was supposed to be the Omega weapon of the. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, which that would have been fun. That would have been fantastic, but whatever. I mean, I get it. Like, you want to do a lot of crazy crap with it. I get it. But like, I love 15. I I see a lot of I can see a lot of people's complaints with it. I do think that there's a lot of fundamental problems with like the overall world design. Like I do think some of the side quests are just boring as hell. Like I don't need to catch frogs, lady. Um, the actual
Oh
game
yeah, I
itself
forgot
though is
about that.
the game itself is gorgeous. It was one of the times where it's like, damn, okay, Luminous Engine out here actually low key killing it. The combat is fun enough. It is a little bit kind of autopilot-y, but wham, boo-hoo. This isn't that bad. When you actually get into the spectacle fights, though, like when you're fighting,
Ifrit.
no, when you're fighting even the dragoon chick,
Oh yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
forgot her name, Arena. Anyway,
Like
whenever
yeah,
you
I think it's like Arena or Aria or something like that.
Yeah, but whenever you fight in her and like you're just doing like Dragon Ball shit in the air, you're teleporting to her, just swiping, like, dude, it's great. Like, and then, yeah, no, the final chapter with Ifrit, like Arden, the fight with Arden.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. I mean, the Leviathan fight, the Titan fight. There's several fights in the game where it's like, okay, set piece wise, this is great. There's a lot of great things about the game. There's a lot of things that get me like, whatever. But
Dude, yeah, I mean,
overall, I love it still. I I would need to play more Final Fantasies to put in like to see like how it compares in the other. But I think anybody who's like saying that this was like a bad Final Fantasy are lying to themselves about their feelings about 1 through 5.
the summons, I mean, dude, when you summon like Rama or any of the other ones, it's so awesome. I can't I yeah. Um
No, lot of yeah. No, there's a lot of great. Like
I think
I like that game a lot. It's
I
fun.
think the
Music is
last
great.
I think the last thing I have to do in the game is actually just beat the adamant toys, but that's a whole battle in itself.
I know there's a cheese way to do it. I think it's the
There
ring that you get from chapter 13.
yeah, there is a way to do it, but I just want to yeah, but I heard that that fight can take 6 hours, so yeah.
Yeah, that's
M-
rough. But
Moving on to the final one in the series. I have not personally played this one yet. I know Nathan has.
I have.
Um, and I do. It's right here. It's wrapped in plastic still. I do need to crack it open and open it. I just never have the time. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16. Clive Rossfield seeks revenge and freedom in a land ruled by icons. Icons are the summons, right?
Yes.
It said defeats godlike entity Ultima, freeing humanity at a great cost. I have no idea what that great cost is, but yeah, it is one that I'm meaning to get to. I need to. I want to play it. I do like Ben Starr, who voiced Clive. He also voiced some people in
So yeah,
the guy in Final Fantasy or not Final Fantasy, Expedition
Expedition.
33. So Ben Starr is an up and rising voice actor for sure.
Oh,
Trying
he's
to see,
killing it.
trying to see if I still have. Ah, here it is. But yeah, I still need to get this guy and play it. I haven't quite done that yet. But I paid it for it new at GameStop for 39.99 on release because it was their copy. So, but yeah, Nathan, how did you like Final Fantasy 16? Did you beat it? And is it something that you
All right, so I do recommend you play through it.
Yeah, I have to.
Let me put it to you this way. Final Fantasy 15 is a 7 out of 10 that I love. Final Fantasy 16 is an 8 out of 10 that I like. It's a better game. I just have significantly less emotional attachment to it, despite the fact that I do think that some of the music, especially the ending track by the guy who did the intro for Chainsaw Man, can't remember the name because I'm bad with Japanese names, killed it. Fantastic theme, great, fantastic ending song. Um,
The goat.
Final Fantasy 16, I think, is a is a good game. I just think that maybe there were places that I think that either maybe fans put too much expectations on, or like maybe like it's just was kind of like, really, that's where you decided to what you decided to do with that, like the goddamn star next to the moon, really, like anybody who's actually finished the game, really, that's what you're going for, whatever. That's just, it's kind of some stuff that's kind of disappointing in that regard, but and like the fact that like you're doing fire moves on like the firebomb enemies and you're still doing damage. I think that's silly. And that's more of
Yeah.
like just general combat stuff, which I understand that they're trying to do more of like a Devil May Cry combat. And if you start doing things where like, oh, you're accidentally healing an enemy, what is this? The Devil May Cry reboot? I'm not going to hear that kind of complaint right now, but it it I don't know. I think that
The goat.
I think that it's a good game. I think that there are places that it probably could have been tightened up in places, but I don't know. I think that it's worth the playthrough. It's just one. It's never. It's not going to be my favorite Final Fantasy as much as like I would have loved it to have been.
Yeah.
I really wanted to love 16 because after 15 and like me being the only one who actually felt like I actually liked the game, everyone else, I understand why they didn't like it. I wanted to be like, okay, 16 to be the one to bring everyone here. Like they got the Devil May Cry guy to do the combat, and they got Yoshi P, the guy who's doing 14, who's basically saving Square Enix right now. See what they cooked up, and it's pretty good.
Well, hopefully
It's
it's
kind of
better
it.
than this game because this game was hot garbo.
Let me borrow that because I want to see.
It's
I
not.
kind of.
It's actually a pretty good game.
I
But
mean, like,
yeah,
hey, as long as the combat's good,
it's good.
whatever. Yeah,
I think you would like it. I actually do like it. Um,
I like me
but
my dumb, silly Devil May Cry crap.
yeah, no, it's I like it. The only thing that's annoying in it is like your little dragon guy. He talks too much, but he sounds like Sean Connery. So
All
you
right,
get over it
whatever.
pretty quick.
But yeah,
But yeah,
uh,
guys. No, go ahead, Nathan.
but yeah, no, 16, it's good. I just I actually still do need to play through the DLCs. I haven't gone through that. My biggest complaint is that I think that there are some things that just kind of feel like up in the air or just kind of like unsatisfying for, I think maybe like the under the guise of like, oh, we're being realistic, but it's just like, could you not have a, I feel like this was a Final Fantasy without hope, which is kind of sad because a lot of Final Fantasy, I feel like there is still an underlying theme of hope underneath it, and I feel like there just wasn't in 16. Fuck, that's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
and like it's just a very cynical game. The game ends on a very like kind of like cynical ass note, and it's just, I mean, not and like it kind of ends on like a kind of positive note, but it's just like that by the time you get there, you're like, I don't fucking care anymore, dude. Like it's you're like, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
cool. I guess the rest, I guess everyone else is fine. Whatever. It's just, and then by the time you get to the end of it, and you're like, okay, I guess that's where all the lore went. All right, whatever. And there's a lot of fascinating mysteries to the whole thing, like with the other, like the giant hole in the map. I remember that being like a huge, like, what the hell happened with that? And I was like, I think that was like a thing with Leviathan. I
Yeah.
don't know. Eventually, I'll go through it again, maybe again if I ever do like streaming or something like that. But
I think after I beat Final or Resident Evil 3, I'll hop on 16 and
I
at least
recommend
start
it.
it.
16 is really good. Like
Yeah.
it is really good. I just wish it ended better. And I'm not even saying the ending is bad. I just didn't feel satisfying getting. I didn't feel like really super satisfied getting to that ending. I feel like a lot of I feel like there was some missed potential there. I don't want to be like some kind of prick who's just like, oh, Final Fantasy 16 is garbage. I'm not gonna do that because there's a lot of great things about the game, but I think that there is some things that I think were missed out on that I would have to play through again one more time to like kind of reaffirm my feelings. But
Yeah.
again, it's a great game. It's just I don't like it as much as I feel like I wanted to.
Right. Well, that's our take on the Final Fantasy series, guys. We ranted enough at this point. So yeah, you know our likes, you know our dislikes, and there's a bunch of dislikes on there, but yeah, do your thing, you guys. Like it, share it, do the things, help us grow here. So far it's been phenomenal. We appreciate those of you that are in here. We appreciate the comments as always. So please do leave those. Um, and then help us so that we can get to doing bigger and better things. Me and Nathan will try to come up with a topic for next week. We always do. And then, yeah, hopefully we'll have something, and we always do. So, not hopefully, but we'll have something entertaining for y'all. Um, and then, yeah, as we always do, we leave on what we're playing right now. Um, Nathan, what are you playing?
So, still more Elden Ring, Night Rain, kind of hopping back and forth, and also the original Armored Core. I'm just going back and playing some missions there, but I'm really debating on either starting like working on music again or
Nice,
possibly just streaming some Final Fantasy X. I kind of
nice.
want to start that, but I'm not sure yet. I I'll, I'm looking for I'm looking for another game to play and kind of obsess over, and I'm curious, like, is it finally time for me to go back to Final Fantasy? We'll see.
Right on. And then, yeah, for me, guys, it's still just Pokemon ZA. I am now rank C. So I'm coming up to the end of the game, I hope, because it is dragging at this point. Uh, every wild zone has been fully completed. And yeah, now I'm just chugging through the game and doing the thing. And then I'm also playing through and actually going to hop back on in a few minutes. Resident Evil 3, finishing that so that I can do the journey all the way till 9. I have till February till 9. 9 has been pre-ordered. I did get the dumbass collector's edition because I gotta have all that. It did say when you pre-order it, it does come with a mystery skin for another character who hasn't been announced. We all know that's my boy Leon. It's gotta be. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, till next time, guys. Like I said, leave the likes, leave the things. Hope you guys enjoyed the intro. I did bring an intro back into the video finally. And then I'm working my way to bring back the intro plus the intro song and then have the end credits thing. It's been a while and I'm getting it all pieced back together. But yeah, Nathan, thank you for always being here. And then we'll catch you guys next week. And yeah, um, till then, you guys have a good one. And then, yeah, Nathan, see us out.
Have a good night. Get home safe.
You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week. Peace.